Yes, ma'am. We are through.
Shall we, sir?
Yes, ma'am. We can start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to one and all present here. It's my privilege to address you all on behalf of PG and Research Department of English, Sourashtra College, Madurai. Welcome to our two-day international webinar on New Horizons in Lingo Literary Studies in English. First and foremost, I welcome our secretary and correspondent, Dr. D.R. Kumaresh sir. He is a man of vision and mission who motivates us always to do new number of programs. And here we are. First, I would like to welcome our Honorable Principal, Professor N.H. Saravanan sir. With his support and encouragement, we are organizing this webinar successfully. We are thankful to you, sir, for your kind support, suggestions, and guidance given to us. I welcome you, sir. I feel honored to welcome the King of Linguists, Dr. T. Muthukrishnan, sir, former head, Professor, Department of Linguistics, Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. He is the pillar behind this webinar. I welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome my mentor, an icon of hard work, Dr. C. Raju, Associate Professor and Head, Yadava College, Madurai. Sir, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Next, I welcome our head of the department, Dr. M.R. Rashila, the backbone of this webinar. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bona.
Thank you. A very warm welcome to our renowned speakers who took out their valuable time and join us today to be a part of this webinar and enlighten us with their profound knowledge. Here are our resource person of today's session. Dr. Swati Shukla, Assistant Professor, Geetam Deemed to be University, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. I welcome you, ma'am. Professor Rosalind Jesudas, Professor of Linguistics, Department of Language and Translation, Northern Border University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I welcome you, ma'am. Dr. P. Nagaraj, Associate Professor and Head, Department of English and Foreign Language, Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. I welcome you, sir. Dr. M. Ashita Varghese, Assistant Professor, Department of English and Foreign Language, Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. I welcome you, ma'am. We are honored to have you all with us. Welcome, sir, and welcome, ma'am. A warm welcome to my friends from Department of English, Sourashtra College. It is a pleasure to welcome all the faculties and friends, students from various institutions. Your presence is highly appreciable by us. It is a pleasure to host you all during this wonderful occasion. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Inaugural address, I request our principal, Professor N.H. Saravanan sir, to deliver inaugural address. Sir.
Good morning to all. Can you
Good
hear
morning.
me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear my voice? Okay, right. Okay, good morning to all. Before start of my speech, stay all safe, keep social distance, wear mask, and follow the guidelines given by the government because we are in the pandemic situation. First of all, I thank our management and organizers to conduct this two-day international webinar. I invite our beloved secretary, Sri D.R. Kumaresh sir, to attend this webinar. convener of this 2 days international webinar on New Horizon in Lingo Literary Studies of English, Dr. M.R. Rashila, Head and Associate Professor, PG and Research Department of English of our college, and the Organizing Secretary, Mrs. Dr. S. Bhuvaneshwari. I welcome to all resource persons for this international webinar, and I would like to say that this type of webinars are needed in the present pandemic situation. I thank the organizers and wish the program in grand success. I thank our professors for accepting our invitation. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Now
you,
I invite our HOD, Dr. M.R. Rashila, to introduce the theme of this webinar.
A pleasant morning to you all, learned scholars. Indeed, it's my privilege to introduce the theme and concept of the title of the webinar, New Horizons in Lingo Literary Studies of English. So, I wish to brief few points on the concept note for the sake of the participants here. We all very well know that languages play an important role in various aspects of our daily lives. Their role is not only limited to communication, rather, it extends into the vast branches of knowledge and human sciences. Languages are capable of developing human knowledge and extending it for the benefit of humankind. Language is a communication tool used by everyone in their daily life as a means to convey informations and place their arguments to others. Every society, region, and place would have a different language. The language cannot be separated from culture. Language represents its nation and has close relation to the attitude or behavior of groups of speakers of the languages. Whereas literature, on the other hand, is mostly written, and it refers to a collection of written works. It is an art form that has intellectual and aesthetic value. In a broad sense, it is any written work. The common forms of literature are novel, fiction, poem, short story, drama, prose, biography, autobiography, memoir, essay, etc., which are being created by writers exploring their own creativity in terms of input and delivery mechanism. So to put it in a nutshell, a language is a form of expression. Literature is a collection of expression via language. Language is concerned with the discourse. It is concerned with, literature is concerned with life experiences. Many studies exist in the field of languages, such as phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. The study of sounds in speech is known as phonology. Language helps students to develop textual analysis skills of various literary works. Language in literature helps to expose students to samples of real-life settings in various literary works. Language increases cultural enrichment for students. So it is very clear that both language and literature are interrelated and interdependent. It has a very wide give and take relationship, and we can experience a metamorphosis in forms and the content, which lead to a paradigm shift in the literary and linguistic research methods and approaches. Especially the English language and English literature have been undergoing vast changes in the linguistic and literary elements. That is, what is said and how it is said. A radical change is there. It implies the fact that, and it's very clear that we are not currently using this very age-old archaic English and the themes, narratology of modern day English literature has a lot of newness because of various reasons. These innovations and newness, which has been implied very recently in a very novel way, it will definitely embellish English literature and English language, which will become the new horizons of academic field. English language and literary studies, it opens up new avenues and vistas for the research scholars to explore by means of their research, by employing new approaches of research, and these new outlooks should be brought to the light of the day for wider popularization and the dissemination of thoughts. So with this intention, this webinar is organized, and we have availed the service and expertise of very learned scholars from the fields of linguistics and literary studies of English. It is believed that this English Academy, English Study Academia, breaking the constraints of COVID-19 pandemic through online, will certainly enjoy the academic benefits of this webinar in a fruitful manner. So let's all have a vibrant academic deliberation on this online platform. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, Bona.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I invite Mr. K.V. Kannan to introduce Dr. C. Raju.
Yes, madam. Respected correspondent and secretary of Sourashtra College, beloved principal, honorable delegates from various institutions and countries, distinguished chief guests, erudite heads of various departments, amiable faculty members of my department, and dear participants from various educational institutions, a very pleasant morning to one and all. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce today's our international webinar chief guest and one of our hometown college of professors, Dr. C. Raju, to you. He is presently working as the associate professor and head Department of English, Yadava College in Madurai. Dr. Raju has nearly 3 decades of teaching and research experience in his academic life, and still he looks very smart in his physical appearance. He is the member in Board of Studies of almost all colleges in Madurai regions, MK University and Alagappa University, Karaikudi. He is also the doctoral committee member in the Alagappa University, Bharathidasan University, Trichy, and Manonmaniam Sundaranath University, Tirunelveli. In addition, Dr. Raju is one of the research supervisors in MK University and Mother Teresa University, Kodaikanal. So far, he had been guided 30 MPhil scholars, awarded 9 PhDs, and is guiding 5 PhD candidates. Dr. Raju was the elite resource person in 3 national conferences held across South India and delivered 7 guest lectures in Tamil Nadu, and 4 times his speech broadcast in All India Radio. He has published 5 books so far with ISBN number and out of his 12 publications. To add further to his care, he has successfully completed a minor research project funded by UGC. Thus, Dr. Raju's academic calibers are elongating like the Western God. If I talk like this, Rajadhani Express only, I can complete his CV because he has given a lot of pages here. So, Hence, with this few words, I'm happy to introduce our program chief guest, Dr. Raju, to felicitate on this occasion. Welcome, sir. Thank you, Madam Bona. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Raju, sir, the dais is over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bona. Thank you, Dr. Kannan, for your kind words.
Thank you, sir.
Most respected Chief Patron and the Secretary and Correspondent of Sourashtra College, Dr. D.R. Kumaresh. Patron and Principal in Charge, Professor N.H. Saravanan. My most respected Professor and Well-Wisher, Dr. T. Muthukrishnan, former Professor and Head, Department of Linguistics, Bharatiya University. Convener of the webinar and Head of the Department of English, Dr. M.R. Prashila. Co-convener, Dr. G. Sivabalan. One of my best students and the organizing secretary of this webinar, Dr. S. Bhuvaneshwari. Members of the organizing committee. Guest speakers, Dr. Swati Chikala, Professor Roslyn Jesdas, Dr. P. Nagaraj, Dr. M. Ashita Varghese, faculty members, and dear participants. I deem it a great honor to be amongst you now for this webinar. And I would like to record my thanks to the members of the organizing committee for having invited me to offer felicitation on this occasion. And before performing my duty, I congratulate the entire team that have been working towards the conduction of this webinar and recognize the effort you all have put in to make it a useful one. But for the support of the management of the Sourashtra College, this would not have materialized. And I will be failing in my duty if I don't mention the support extended by them towards this endeavor. Coming to the webinar. The organizers have christened the webinar as New Horizons in Linguo-Literary Studies of English. The basis, I think, for christening the webinar thus should be the fact that the horizon that the studies on lingo-literary firmament has not been exhausted. English being the most spoken language next to the Mandarin and Spanish is itself the cause for such a topic to be discussed on these days. In his well-known Minute on Indian Education of February 1835, Lord Macaulay urged Lord William Bentinck, the Governor General at that time, to reform secondary education on utilitarian lines to deliver, within quotes, useful learning. This phrase, useful learning, to Macaulay was always synonymous with Western culture. There was no traditional secondary education in vernacular languages. The institutions then, supported by the East India Company, taught either in Sanskrit or Persian. Hence, Lord Macaulay, I quote, said, "We have to educate a people who cannot at present be educated by means of their mother tongue. We must teach them some foreign language," unquote. Macaulay argued that Sanskrit and Persian were no more accessible than English to the speakers of the Indian vernacular languages, and existing Sanskrit and Persian texts were of little use for, according to Lord Macaulay's thought, within quotes, useful learning. Lord Bentinck's English Education Act 1835 closely matched Macaulay's recommendations. Hence, during that time, from the 6th year of schooling onwards, education was planned to be like a European learning, with English as the medium of instruction. This, the Act envisaged, would create a class of anglicized Indians who would serve as cultural intermediaries between the British and the Indians. The creation of such a class was necessary before any reform of vernacular education. And from that onwards, English as a language started to flourish in India. It happened almost 200 years ago. India has come a long way in terms of education, arts, science, economics, sports, movies, and whatnot. And at this juncture, it would definitely be worthy to introspect the growth we have envisaged and the growth we have achieved in the acquisition of English as a language. And this webinar would be one of the steps through which we can identify the growth. The organizers of today's webinar have chosen topics of varied nature, starting with Dr. Swati Chikala's Augmenting English Behavior for Advanced Neo-Learners. She would probably enlighten us on the influence of English among the new age learners and the modalities with which that can be achieved. Dr. Rosalind Jesdas is presenting her views on creation of space to embed HOTS in English language and literature teaching, where she will deliberate on the higher order thinking, HOT, with regard to the teaching of both the language and the literature, which is very pertinent to the webinar's topic. Dr. P. Nagaraj, my very good friend, will be placing his arguments on languaging in pandemic. He will keep us engaged with the idea on the process of making meaning and shaping knowledge and experiences through language. Dr. M. Ashita Burgess, for her part, has an interesting plate of dish to serve to us. Her topic, on the arts, thinking in literature, has lots to offer to us. And all these four experts, led by the most respected Professor Dr. Muthukrishnan, will be providing us a sumptuous piece of knowledge with regard to language and literature to keep us engaged on these 2 days. And before I conclude my felicitation part, I must record my wishes and respects to my dear friend and well-wisher, Dr. P. Jayapriya, who will be delivering the valedictory address tomorrow. I once again congratulate the organizers for their endeavors and wish them all success in all their academic and personal endeavors. And thank you once again for offering me this opportunity to felicitate on this international webinar. Thanks and cheers one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Now I invite Mrs. Kalaivani to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. T. Muthukrishnan. Kalaivani, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Before I take the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, I express my gratitude to our secretary and correspondent, principal, convener, co-convener, and the organizing secretary of this two-day international webinar on New Horizons in Lingual-Literary Studies of English. I was tasked to introduce the keynote speaker, and I'm very much honored and privileged to do so. Dr. T. Muthukrishnan, former professor and head, Department of Linguistics, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore, has a very rich profile to be read out. He is a man with rich academic experience in teaching and research. He holds several positions, both academically and in administrative sector. He has authored 3 books, edited 3 books, and is the chief editor of newsletter Bharathiar University. His academic contributions as subject expert, member in Board of Studies, approved research guide are extensively commendable. He had organized several seminars and conferences and has also acted as keynote speaker for several programs. He has bestowed with rich wealth of research experience and teaching experience in high seats of learning, both in India and abroad. With these few words, I close my note and welcome the keynote speaker to deliver the keynote address. Thanks for the opportunity given. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Muthukrishnan sir, the dais is yours, sir.
Sorry, sir. Can you unmute yourself, sir? I have requested.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir. We are audible. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning to you all. Respectable the Secretary and Correspondent of Sourashtra College, learned Professor Saravanan, the Principal of Sourashtra College, respectable Professor Yama Rashila, the Head of the Department of English of Sourashtra College, my dear friend Dr. Vilachery and her associates, the organizing secretaries, my dear friend Dr. Raju from Yadava College, the resource persons, my alter egos, Dr. Nagaraj, Dr. Jocelyn Nirmala Jesidas, Dr. Swadi, Dr. Asita Rakesh, and my dear friend Dr. Dayala Krishnan, Dr. Rajesh Kumar, and other faculty members from the Department of English of Sourashtra College, and my dear participants across the country. It is my immense pleasure to meet you all on this virtual platform. It's really a nice experience for me. Before plunging into the task of presenting the keynote address, let me have the pleasure of expressing my own sentiments. At the outset, let me have the pleasure of expressing my sincere thanks to the Secretary, Correspondent, Head of the Department, Principal in general, and Dr. Bhuvaneshwari in question for having given me this golden opportunity to present a keynote address on this one of the crucial topics of linguistics and literature studies. Friends, this is the topic given by the organizer is something very pregnant, and they have made a happy wedding between language and literature. You all know that language and literature are made for each other. One cannot live without another. Literature cannot live without language. And language lives in literature. Of course, language is being used in different domains. The literature is one of the important domains wherein we use language in a flowery manner. Rather, a pedantic style of language is employed in the domain called literature. It is not usually a natural language we are employing in literature. It is something unique, and the type of language, different characters in your literature will present the totality of the whole language, English language. I'm sorry. See, we people are, that the topic, as we rightly pointed out, that the topic, Madam Rashila has rightly pointed out that the topic is very pertinent, which has got a unique value, rather, and of course, by plunging into the task of analyzing language and literature, we will unearth a lot of nuances of languages in general. Of course, whether it's an English language or any language. So language is analyzed. Similarly, literature is also analyzed for understanding the system of systems, how literature is designed, how language is designed. We are trying to unearth the designed features of language as well as literature. How another compose his poem, or how a poet composes his poem, or how he writes an essay or novel or fiction or short stories. We are able to understand his ideological stance by analyzing it. So we are analyzing both language as well as literature to understand the system of systems available. The knowingly or unknowingly, the writer or the language user might have employed some systems in terms of phonological system, morphological system, or syntactical system, or semantic system, or paradigmatic system, or discourse patterns. So certain patterns are available. It is inbuilt in literature and language. We people are poking our nose into it and rushing our mind, trying to understand what type of system is that. The designed features are there. It's nothing but designed features. Designed features are there. We try to capture those designed features. When we are analyzing the language, we are not merely analyzing the language alone or literature alone. In tone, we are trying to teach the language to the younger generation, or we are trying to teach the literature to the younger generation. For both language and literatures are analyzed, and both language and literatures are taught to the younger generation. In tone, they will be able to appreciate or enjoy the literature. They will be able to use the language in different domains, and they will be able to, what we call, create literature like it. So the ultimate type, because in the kindergarten, we are learning literature. At the same time, in the PG or PhD program, also, we are learning literature. So while we are learning literature in the PhD or PG level, we in turn, we are made to prepare such a literature. Because I wonder whether all the people, all literature people are coming along with our producing literature at all. But however, we are trained in such a way to enjoy the literature as well as produce the literature. So such a designed features are identified by analyzing it. See, the language and literature, if it is a static one, our analysis, our exploration, our investigation will stop. But language and literatures are dynamic. It is not static. It is always changing its color according to the needs. So modern day language is used in different domains. The society demands some innovative use of language, whether English or Tamil or Malayalam or Kolami, Nayaki, Parji, or any language for that matter. We are modifying the components of language. We are changing the colors of the language. In turn, we have to work for language. We are analyzing the language. By analyzing, we try to understand the system. So language is dynamic one. Literature is also dynamic one. Now we are not using the Shakespearean English nowadays. We are not using the Elizabethan English nowadays. We have got totally a new type of English. And of course, they often say that we have got Englishes, many varieties of Englishes. In fact, we don't use language, English language rather. We are using a variant of English language. It is changing its color according to the needs. We cannot control the language development or language changes because language or literature is a product of the society. Literature is a mirror of society or is a mirror of age. Similarly, language is also mirroring the society. Language is also what you call changing its colors. So it's a product of the society. So we cannot dictate terms and conditions to produce the literature like this or to use the language this way. So it is freed. It is open to all. People will put different elements into the language, different components, different design features in the literature. Thereby, we'll have variety of genres, different genres. We will have it. That happens in our, because it's the human beings' creations, language, literature. When the elite people, the creative writers can produce number of literatures wherein we find some uniqueness in terms of concept, input, in terms of language. Similarly, whatever the new input comes in the society has to be articulated using the language. So that happens in our life. And of course, it's literature and language are life skills. And literature, I often said that literature is an artificially created a social environment wherein different characters will make use of different languages. When I am referring to or when I am reading a literature, I am able to meet different interlocutors, different people hailing from different backgrounds. They will be employing different variety of languages. So for example, the cultural properties or slangs or and even the taboo vocabulary could be acquired by referring to literature, by reading literatures. Generally, language learning process, the socialization will provide you a lot of opportunity to acquire a lot of elements, language elements. Similarly, literature will also provide you a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances to have different linguistic corpus, linguistic data. Thereby, we will enrich our understanding, enrich our own experience, our own what we call linguistic behavior. Our linguistic behavior will be enhanced by reading literature and having close acquaintance with what we call original culture, the English culture. So generally, the English language is named as, English language is always, people say that English is like a pool, P-O-O-L, pool. English is like a pool. The language, the shape of the pool is uncertain. We cannot determine the shape of the pool. If there is a cat and dog rain, the shape of the pool is quite enlarged, and rather during the summer season, the pool will be thinned. So the shape is uncertain. That similarly, the English language shape is uncertain. New colors will come in and old colors will go out. Such a modification, such an altercation, such a what you call new colors will appear, new elements will appear. And similarly, in the literature also, we encounter a number of new elements, new features. Once new features are appearing, we as an academics, we have to work on it. We have to understand how it is worked, how it is designed, how it is used by another, how it is used by the people. So literature and language both are used by human being in different fashion. And we try to, as an academician, we try to understand by applying different methodologies, different research methodology, try to understand. People always say that language is amorphous, shapeless. We cannot concretely say that this is the shape, this is the design. Therefore, in the linguistic analysis, we have moved on to what we call, different approaches of analysis. In the linguistic analysis, we have moved on to different approaches. And of course, even the mode of language use or the mode of literature use decides the quality of the language, quality of the literature respectively. See, when I'm using a language in what you call for spoken mode, I may be employing certain vocabularies. I may be using certain types of expressions. Whereas if I am using the language for written purpose, I will be going for different alternatives, different alternative expressions. I will be going for sentences, whereas I will be going for class of chains when I am going for speaking, speaking for purpose. So the mode decides the quality of the language. Similarly, the Englishes, we have got Englishes, we have got a lot of Englishes, and now we have got E-English or New English. The E-English, the English used in the electronic mode. For the electronic mode prevents us to use certain traditional features. Therefore, we are creating certain innovative features only exclusively for electronic usages. So these type of changes are taking place in language and literature. As a researcher, as an academician, as a higher education researcher, we need to look at the language and look at the literature with the different eyes. Therefore, we encourage a multidisciplinary approach to look at our own literature, to look at our own language. Even as far as the language is concerned, we have made a lot of changes in our approaches for analyzing the language, because new horizon is appearing in the language sky and similarly literature sky. the sky of literature, we find a new horizon. In the sky of language, we find new horizon. All those horizons have to be addressed, have to be analyzed. For this, we need to go for different mechanisms, different methodologies, different research methodologies. Such a way, we will understand what is going on there and we'll capture it. In turn, we will be transform these information to our younger generation, and younger generation will get the benefit out of our own research. As what we call, people say that literature research as an inquiry, as a practice. All the literature research carried out by us cannot be transferred to the practice for the purpose of practice. Certain elements could be used for practice. Similarly, in linguistic science also, whatever the type of research we do, all the research findings could not be employed for the benefit of the society. Rather, it has to be converted into practice. Certain elements could be used. For example, if I am trying to understand the system of English language, by understanding all those elements, nuances, intricacies, I cannot use all those things for the purpose of teaching English language to my own children. So I can avoid certain elements. So certain things are kept as inquiry, certain things are kept as practice. So such a way we do that. We analyze the language. The new elements are the newness will be analyzed. Thereby we try to bring some benefit to the society. So in that sense, at the beginning, when we are analyzing the language, we analyze the language prescriptively. The prescriptivism is transferred into the descriptivism in the linguistic science. When we are analyzing the English language, we simply prescribe rules and regulation, as a doctor prescribes a rule, our own diet and all. We prescribe rules and regulation of language use at the beginning. But modern days, that system is changed. Now we don't need to prescribe what they call rules and regulations to the younger generation. Rather, we will go for describing things. So description, descriptivism is appreciated. Even for example, if you happen to see an expression go slowly or go slow, both the expressions are available. If you look at the prescriptive manner, you can say go slowly is a correct expression, because slowly is an adverb and go is a verb. It has to appear, it has to attribute a verb. Go slowly. Go slow, and slow is an adjective. It cannot be employed as an adverb at the beginning stage. But nowadays it became adverb. It became an ergative form in modern days. So such a way the changes in approach is taking place. So moving from prescriptivism to descriptivism. And similarly, we have moved from structuralism to what we call communicativeness. See, in those days, when we were learning English language, our teachers have taught this is the way you want to construct a sentence. This is a rule. This is a noun, subject, verb, object. This is a rule. There will be, they have imbibed. But modern day, they are just teaching. In those days, they were teaching one structure, and we will be gradually moving to another structure. See, for example, one sentence is given, with the help of that particular sentences, explanation will be given. With the help of the same sentences, we'll be producing some other sentences. This is the way moving from one structure to another structure. But modern days, the communicative approach, what we call, focuses upon the moving from one situation to another situation, how to behave in a particular domain, in a particular social setting. And after learning the behavior, linguistic behavior in a particular domain, we will be brought to another domain wherein we will be trying to that. This type of tendency has emerged in the language analysis. And similarly, the syntagmatic relationship and paradigmatic relationship. See, syntagmatic relationship in the sense, the what you call horizontal relationship across the member words of a sentence. A sentence is analyzed in terms of the syntagmatic relationship. She comes today. Say she comes, third person singular, and it is a present tense. Therefore, the verb has to take yes or yes. So this rule is a syntagmatic relationship. But nowadays, we have moved to the paradigmatic relationship, in the sense learning something from one sentence, and the parallel sentence will be created. We will link the slots of the subject, slots of the adjective, slots of the determinant, all those things will be compared, thereby will be equipped to produce that. This type of movement has occurred. Syntactic relationship and paradigmatic relationship. And then generativeness is transferred to transformativeness. So generativeness, applying a minimum number of rules will generate infinite number of sentences. So the applying particular rule will be generating a number of sentences. Sometimes if we produce some sentences, that sentences will not be meaningful. Upon Safir and Wolf, the meaningless sentences will not be accepted. So our rule will help us to generate number of sentences, number of linguistic elements. Sometimes those linguistic elements may not be usable. So considering this one, they have moved on to the system called transformation rules, transforming a sentence from one sentence from another sentences. See how a statement could be converted into interrogative, how statement could be converted into explanatory. So how a deep structure could be made as a surface structure, how compound sentences will be combined, how complex sentences will be what you call decomposed as what you call simple sentence or complex sentence. Such a way, the transformation, the phrase structural rule have been generated. Thereby, we are trying to understand the system. We are trying to imbibe this knowledge in the mind of the learners. This is one thing. Then we keep explanation, we keep the linguistic elements in isolation, and sometimes we keep what you call within 2 or 3 minutes I will write up the session. We will be moving towards the what you call contextualization. The contextualization is also one of the important property. So that only the language does not give any meaning, rather the context where it appears will give the meaning. There's such a way this movement has happened in here. There are so many movements from IC analysis to whatever transformation from and many things have happened. So, similarly, the literature also. The literature also, we find a lot of changes in the literature. See, modern days we are moving to even advertisement become literature nowadays. So people are enjoying advertisement in media, and even the social media present a lot of what you call edutaining or entertaining pieces, text. Those become part of literature, new genre of literature. Yeah, even the short stories, when it is appearing in the Twitter, it's a twist stories, or thriller becomes a thriller. So such a way, the electronic devices, even the popular what you call the literature, 6 words novel, only 6 words will be there. With the help of that, 1 gun, 2 shots, 3 die. So this type of what do you call the 6-word novels or flash fictions. The minimum barest essential linguistic elements will be applied, by which we could express a lot of ideas. You know, the reader responsible theories or deconstruction, Derrida's deconstructions, the death of authors. The death of others. So these ideas have emerged in the literature field. All these ideas have to be addressed. All these innovations have to be addressed, either the language component or literature component. They both things. Say sometimes the language component, linguists are working on language. In terms of stylistic analysis, in terms of semiotic analysis, and the literature people are also independently analyzing. And there is a give and take relationship between the language science and literary studies. So there are so many challenges, so many opportunities are there for future generation. Though we have explored a lot in the field of language and literature, still miles to go before we sleep. Such a lot of challenges on lot of opportunities, avenues are there, research avenues are there. Those have to be analyzed, explored, exploiting our own talent, our own experience. In turn, the society will get benefit. This type of program this type of program will address such issues. The covering scholars, Swati, Nagaraj, Nirmala Jistas, and of course Ajita Varkis will be addressing these type of innovative research issues. Thereby, the participant will be getting some benefit, academic benefit, by listening to those people. And my key will open up new vista for your own understanding of your literature and language. With this brief remark, because of the depth of time, I could not touch upon some other aspect because it's a keynote address. Many Jambowans are waiting to present their ideological stand, their views on literature and language. Giving them way, I'm setting aside and essentially thank organizers and especially Dr. Bhuvaneshwari Dayalakrishnan for having given me this golden opportunity. And I once again thank all the audience and participants, Professor Raju and other members, and my dear resource persons. I essentially thank all you people for having lent your mind and eye for quite a long time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the enlightening keynote address. I request Madam Kalivani to present vote of thanks for the inaugural session.
Good morning, everyone. It gives me an immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks in this inaugural session. I thank all the dignitaries who have shown their consent to be the guests and speakers and have joined us in the first day of the virtual meet. My profound thanks to Dr. D.R. Kumaresh, Secretary and Correspondent of our college, who support us and motivate us in all academic endeavors. I would like to express my thanks to all the committee members of Sourashtra College Council. I owe my sincere gratitude to Professor Enith Saravanan, Principal in charge of our college, for his guidance and support. I am thankful to all who have joined us in this inaugural session. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to the resource person of our first session. Before starting, I like to give a few instructions to the participants. Participant, kindly post your questions only in the chat box. For the first session, here is our moderator, Dr. S.M. Nandini. You kindly post your questions in the chat box. Madam will read the question after the session is over, and the feedback form will be posted in the chat box in the end of the session. So kindly fill the feedback form. The feedback forms of all 4 sessions will generate the certificates for you. So kindly don't forget to fill in the feedback form. Now I invite Dr. MGR to, Dr. M.G. Ramprasad to introduce the resource person, Dr. Swati Chikala. MGR sir, the dais is yours.
Ramprasad sir, can you hear us?
Good morning, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari. Good morning to one and all present here. I am happy to introduce the speaker of the first session in the 2 days international webinar on New Horizon in Lingual Literary Studies of English. The speaker did her MPhil and MA in Stella Mary, Chennai. She received her doctoral degree from Andhra Pradesh University. She has more than a decade of experience in teaching, research, and directing doctoral studies. She is a co-author of books on English literature and English teaching. In the year 2015, she was awarded the coveted English Language Teacher Research Partnership Award by British Council of India. She herself is credited with a large number of research articles published in referred journals and chapter in Verb. As an organizer, she organizes a series of workshops, and webinars. As a resource person, she has been invited several times by Human Resource Development in Andhra Pradesh to train the state government to acquire English language skills and soft skills. She is a member of editorial review board of prestigious journal. Ladies and gentlemen, I am glad to introduce to you to a young, dynamic, energetic academician who has these credits and caliber as an assistant professor of English, Gandhian Institute of Technology and Management, deemed to be University, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Swati Sikala. Over to you, ma'am.
Right. Thanks a lot for that lovely introduction, Dr. Ram Prasad Garu. You've used a lot of adjectives to describe my academic profiles. That's very, very nice of you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I thank the administrators of Sourashtra College, Principal Professor Sharavanan, Head of the Department of English, Dr. Rashila, today's chief guest, Dr. C. Raju, and the keynote speaker and an eminent academician, Professor T. Muthukrishnan, and other dignitaries and speakers. And a very warm welcome to the participants. I know it's a mixed audience. We have faculty and we have general audience, and also we have students. So it's wonderful to be in such a platform where we can talk in general about English, especially my topic presides on language, which is totally a relevant area or arena for everybody and anybody. Before I plunge into my discussion, I'd like to talk about Madurai a little, because Madurai is a very special place for me. As a scholar, while I was pursuing my MPhil and PhD, I had visited this place a lot of times for the libraries to draw from the academic resources. And the temple there, yes, it's a very special place for us. We visited that a lot of times. So I'm really happy that I got a chance to revisit this place virtually and be with you today. So I'd like to share my screen as we begin our session. All right, is the screen visible?
It's visible.
Thank you, Bhuneshwari. So please feel free to reply in the chat box, because that is how I would like to connect and talk with you. It'll be convenient for me to have interaction. So whatever you feel, you can post it in the chat box. So as you can see, the topic of today's discussion would be augmenting English behavior of advanced neo-learners. The title talks about a lot, or presides or on the premise that Dr. Rashila had mentioned earlier about new technologies in the avenue of English language and literature. And also what our Dr. Raju said about how anglicized version of English came to India, but now things are changing, right? We don't stick to the same old British English anymore. Things have really moved on. So we'll take a look at how English has changed and what can we do to catch up with the current version of the English that we have across the world. And of course, Professor T. Muthukrishnan sir clearly mentioned that we enjoy and produce language and literature. So it's all about enjoying. So I wanted to relax and enjoy this talk. It's not a very, very serious discussion. It's going to be a very pleasant one. I promise you that. So moving on, let's begin with decoding the title itself, because I would like to be very clear on what our objective of today's session is. So augmenting, can anyone put in the chat box what augmenting is for you? I'm unable to see the chat box. I'd like to just go back to this. Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah. So what is your idea of augmenting? Improving, enhancing, increasing, wonderful. It's about fighting for our rights. That's very interesting, Dr. Samira. Implementation, all right, Prema, right. Lakshman Kumar says creative and critical thinking. All right. In a way, yeah, maybe. And we have a few more answers here. Enhance, improve. Ganesh says enhancing. Virendra Reddy says enhancing or increasing.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, ma'am. The file is in the file mode, ma'am. Can we change it to presentation mode?
Yeah, the thing is I'm unable to see the chat if I put it on the presentation mode. I know why.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Adding extra stuff, different perspectives, intense impact. Wonderful. Thank you so much for responding, boosting. Very good. So this is what we have here. As you mentioned already, augmenting is expanding, implementing also in a way, and increasing. So I would like to make it very, very clear that we would be augmenting the existing information or knowledge on the language. All right, this is nothing new that we'd be discussing today, but it gives us scope to look at the various possibilities in analyzing the current structure of language. So English behavior. So tell me what comes to your mind when I say English behavior. Somehow I'm unable to see the chat box. All right. Yeah, now the chat box is visible. Prim and proper, creative and okay, without any display of emotions. Wonderful, Siddiqui. He says prim and proper without display of emotions. Balamurugan says gentle. Suresh says prestige. Jarvis says elite and royal. Language. So English reminds you of language. All right. Thoughts and ideas translated in a comprehensive manner. Sivraj says stylish and attractive. Right. Royal, linguistic competence. Okay, Nazir says linguistic competence. So English stands that for us. So when I say English, who do you think of? The people. What does English represent for you? Power to occupy the world, Shivraj. Okay. Morals and discipline. Queen. Okay, English represents queen for you. UK, Shivraj says UK. All right, wonderful. So social linguistics, right. Thank you so much. So what we see here is English represents the UK. It has represented, it is representing, but what about the future? Will it still represent UK? Our generations are still in the UK arena, all right? And are we still talking about British English when we're talking about English? That is the big question. Can you drop it in the chat box? Do you think we are exposed more to UK English or American English? UK. Dr. Rajesh says UK. Samira says UK. All right. USA. Ahmad says USA. Hiba says UK. All right. Hiba thinks it's UK. Right. Aishwarya, American. So it's a mixed response that we get here. Yeah. Sanjali Jain says American. So Shivraj says we mingle both. Exactly. So that is what we'll be looking at today. All right. So English behavior, we have a lot of things coming into our mind, especially especially the way they conduct themselves. So all of these come to our mind. And today our focus is going to be specifically on language and communication. All right. So we'll be looking at language and communication. And you've already mentioned that we are using mixed of it, right? So, do you speak English is the question. Do you think we actually speak English? If yes, I want you to identify personally what English do you use? Your English. I'm not talking about India in general. I'm talking about you. Which language are you using? English. The chat is here. Okay. Indian, we mix both language like other languages. American. Okay. Samira uses American English. Mixed. Neutral. I'd like to understand what neutral is. Can you please unmute yourself, Miss Aishwarya, if possible, and tell me what you mean by mixed English? I mean the neutral one. Indianized English, interesting, Sivraj. Hemlata also says Indianized. Mixed, a lot of mixed words are here. Indianized, not able to unmute them. Okay, fine, no problem. Indian, what we say, English, wonderful, wonderful, Sanjali. Toasted. Naveen says toasted. All right, are we Toastmasters, Naveen? Wonderful. Indian version of English, UK English. This is very interesting, Fatima. Oxford English language. Nasser is very, very specific. He clearly says Oxford English language. That is very, very interesting, Nasser. So we do speak English. We're all from the same place, India, but we got different responses. So are we focusing on one English here? Because there are mixed responses, does it mean there is more than one English? We know it already that there are Englishes in the world. Yes, if you look at this map here, it traces the history of how English expanded from this small, tiny island on the map. It expanded. This map is only till 2008, but even now, 2021, as Professor T. Muthukrishnan sir mentioned already, language is dynamic. It's still expanding, and while it's expanding, it's also being nativized. You know, the nativity is imbibed into the crux of the English language. So UK English with a mix of Indian touch to it, yeah, that also is possible. USA and so on and so forth. It's our choice. All right. So this is the basic inner circle that looks at different Englishes that exist in India and in the world currently. So inner circle, we have the native speakers. As you mentioned, USA and UK, that is what we think about when we listen or when we hear the word English. So USA and UK are the native speakers. Then we have the outer circle, which are the colonies of UK, which are the colonies of the British. And fortunately, unfortunately, we are the colonized people. We are the empire or the slaves who got the colonial legacy from the UK, and that is English. One of it is, and Nigeria, South African, and so on and so forth. The expanding circle is the current countries which have started adopting English as part of their academics, official purposes, or communication, or their understanding itself in general. It's not really gone into the cultural aspects deeper, but it has started affecting everything or every aspect of their experience. So we have these Englishes. And India, let's narrow it down to our own country, India. Let's see, how many languages, Indian Englishes do we have? Can anyone tell me? Indian English languages. How many Indian Englishes do we have? I'm sure you know that India is not just one English, isn't it? Somebody had mentioned earlier English. Many. Nazir says many. What are those many? Can you be a little more specific? As many as regional languages. Wonderful, Aishwarya. Each state has its own English. Wonderful. English mixed with dialects depending on regions. Yes, Tulsi. Correct. Sujata says as many languages as we have. Spot on. You all have got the answer correct. So what we have here are Indian Englishes. So question is, should we be learning these regional varieties of English of India, or should we focus on USA or UK or other country Englishes? So that is the question. And today I wouldn't be recommending any one English for you. We'll be looking at how to use a neutral language that would help us just go on with any English that exists in the world. So as you mentioned, yes, India chopped English. We tailored it to suit our own needs. And this is what we have. We have English. All right. Within English, according to the regional aspects, we have Pinglish, Minglish, Tinglish. All right. So a lot of Englishes in India, which is very beautiful. We should relish the fact that India has been able to contribute to English in a lot of ways, in terms of vocabulary, but also in terms of creating a whole set of new English language, which is Indian English. Most of us do speak Indian English. Now, mother tongue influence, that is one point that we must be looking at, because Indian Englishes exist only because of the different regions, different languages. Now, that is the mother tongue influence that impacts our academic life or workplace life. As you see here, you'll be communicating to a lot of people at workplace. Now, when we are talking about Indian English, do we have to just focus on that? Can we, or is there a need to rely on UK and USA English also, or other Englishes of the world? There might be a need. For instance, let's say you're all scholars, right? I mean, scholars in the sense we're all learners of life. So we are constantly learning, evolving, changing, just like language. And today I might be working here. Tomorrow I might want to pursue a postdoctoral fellowship somewhere abroad. I'd like to go there. You might want to do a PhD abroad or in some other place where you need to communicate a lot. And for that, so neutralizing the mother tongue influence is very, very crucial. The same thing applies to the workplace. And even in the workplace, we have a lot of communication going on. You might be working anywhere across the globe, right? So for that, we need to have to work on the mother tongue influence that usually creates some hindrance to intelligibility, because intelligibility is very, very crucial when we are talking, right? So let's see, what are the 4 language skills that we know? This is a very, very basic, fundamental, simplest question of all. Language skills. All right, we have listening. That's how we learn a language, isn't it? As babies, we listen to the people around, and then that's how we acquired the language ability. Imitation, we started imitating them. Otherwise, if there are no people around and we were like Mowgli and Tarzan in the jungles, we would be definitely saying ooh, us, and no language at all. So listening is very, very crucial, followed by yes, speaking. All right, wonderful. Then now we have good reading and writing. So we have these 4 language skills which are very, very crucial for us to hone, because we're talking about advanced learners in this session. We wouldn't be really touching upon the basics of how to improve in a very traditional manner, in a conventional manner. We're going to be a little uncanny in terms of picking up the choices of learning. So the focus would be majorly on speaking and writing, because they are active skills, productive skills. So let's discuss speaking and writing in terms of learning them. So we know that the 4 speaking skills which are really, really crucial for us are fluency, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Now, can anyone tell me what fluency is? Can anyone tell me what fluency is? Accuracy. Javi say, okay. Shivraj says flawless speaking, talking coherently, flow of speech, flow, speed, feelings, okay. Fastest, without any mistakes. Fastest, okay, Samira, that's very interesting. Fastest, is it? If I say the 4 speaking skills of fluency, vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, and so on, I'm very fast. Is it fluent? Am I making any sense to you? That's the point. Ease of speaking, very good. Sanjali, Jain. Shali says clearance. Okay, Sumitra says flow of thoughts coherently. CR says ease of using a language. All right. Ashwarya says proficiency. Yeah, we'd like to go with what you said. Absolutely, yeah. Fast with meaningful. All right, Kandan. clear pronunciation, uninterrupted flow, stylish without hesitation, Lakshmi Priya, all right? Consistency, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. These are wonderful thoughts you're sharing here. So what we have here is pronunciation and vocabulary and grammar, but all of them put together, when you're speaking or writing, there has to be some sort of fluency, which is, as you mentioned, the flow, the ease with which you speak, as simple as that, with proper pauses. And that creates an better impact when we have grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation all intact. All right. So fluency, as late as way back in 1987, Starkweather had described it as non-stuttered and forward-moving speech in regards to both content and production. So this is what we're talking about, how you speak and what you speak. So both are very, very important. And whatever you put in the chat box, I put the same here. Ease of speaking and the natural flow. So this is a wonderful way of understanding how fluency works. So what are the problems? What are the hindrances that create a rift between the fluent speaker and the non-fluent speaker? So these are the few issues here. Fragmentation. Fragmentation could be in terms of language or in terms of the content. What are we speaking? If the content is fragmented, not very organized, or somebody mentioned coherence, it's not coherent. So that results in fragmentation and that impacts fluency. Same thing to pauses. I've paused for a while. Everybody must be wondering what happened. So this pause creates confusion again. It's irritates the fluency. Hesitation, I'm not really sure what I'm talking about. So hesitation always leads to fluency issues. And repetition, most of us repeat the ideas a lot of times because we are engaged in talking about something, and we are, while thinking to get a new point, what we do is we end up repeating certain points. So these things also sort of pause the fluency flow that we have. So what can we do? Now, this is the actual point of discussion in this entire session, where I'll be giving you certain learning hacks and the tips. We know this already, all right? I'm just revising them for our understanding, and as simple as that. So I'm sure you all sing, right? I mean, we all sing. Do you sing songs? Yes or no? Just drop in yes or no.
No, I do.
All right. Any song. I mean, if I say any song, I'm talking about Tamil also. But yes, sometimes, yeah, Prema says sometimes. Yes, we do. Bathroom singer, Tulsi says bathroom singer, wonderful. That's a favorite, I'm telling you. Lakshmi Priya says devotional, that's the best. And how many of you really sing or listen to English songs? Me, okay, Shivraj. Aishwarya says not much. Hemlata says yes. So Ramiz says yes, interested, yes, ma'am. Samira, Gayatri, everybody, very good. And I'm sure you have your favorites there. If you don't listen to songs at all, I'm sure we all know the song that Frozen Elsa sings. What is that song? Old MacDonald had a farm. Mr. Rajesh, Old MacDonald had a farm is a song for you. That's nice. Elsa sings a song, Let It Go. It became quite a hit in the world, across the world. So yes, very good. Yes, Ritika. Khan, yes. Hemlata also. Bible songs and Shakespeare's verse songs. Very good. Hemlata listens to Justin Bieber. Right. So we have these songs. Listen to them. All right. Enjoy the music. Fun way of learning language is through music. Trust me, it works. We shall overcome, right? When. Okay. So we have a lot of interesting songs where we can karaoke, sing along. All right. Singing along, you can just hold a mic, hold a brush, and start singing. Somebody said bathroom singer, enjoy it. Play music in the bathroom, sing along, it's fine. The music plays, you can see the lyrics, you can sing along. We do that a lot of times. In my house, we do that a lot of times. My daughter does it and we enjoy it. That's how she learns English. It's fun way. And tongue twisters. In classes, I usually begin with a tongue twister. Like we have it here. Can you can as a can. All right. So we start very slowly and we go real fast. All right. I don't think we can do it here because it's already 11:50 now, but I would have loved to do it with you in the session where volunteers could have set it out. So this is one interesting way of getting that fluency. Once you're confident, fluency just automatically comes. If we can start, yeah, she sells seashells in a seashore, that I can't say Kalai Rasan, but this is easier for me. Yeah, so can you can as a can. You can try this. Red blood, blue blood, very good, Ramiza. Yeah, that is also one interesting one. Thank you so much. So next we'll move on to the next part on how we can. Betty bought some butter. Yes, Aishwarya. So we have another tips coming up, which we are the facilitators. We're not teachers anymore. We are facilitators where, because you're advanced learners, you wouldn't expect us to sit with you and help you with each and every step of your learning, right? We are here to help you with to reach the important source, which resource to tap on. So that is what we'll be doing. And this is what our facilitators can do in the class. Even for language or literature classes, we can involve or include extempore, which is like on the spot talk, jam, just a minute sessions, or debates, discussions, presentations, all part of your continuous assessment or just for fun. We can do it. The only rule that we can think of is no deviation, no repetition. Simple. All right. So with that, I think fluency is going to be quite an easy task for us. And the learning hack for us for this particular fluency aspect is think in English. If possible, only in English. I know most of us do, but thinking correctly is very, very essential, especially with WhatsApp language going around as a huge hit. It's difficult to think in a proper grammatical structure, right? So think in a proper language. Imitate your favorite actors. Listen to them. Watch their interviews. That'll really help you. Here, I'm not talking about anything that you read from a book. All I'm telling you is interesting activities that will also energize you, make you happy and excited, plus you'll learn the language easily. I'd like to just show this one link here where we have activities for students. This, I think the faculty must be using already, but I'm just telling you, it's also self-learning. There are some very good activities given here. Can you see the screen? Can you see the Fluent U screen? Can somebody confirm?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Yes, ma'am. The screen is visible, ma'am.
Thank you. So we have class debates, as I mentioned earlier, any topic, all right? If you're a literature student, you can pick 2 characters from a play or a novel, debate about the qualities, about the aspects of the novel, the play, what could have been better, what are the flaws in the play, what are the character issues here, what are the themes? So, and how can we relate that to the contemporary section? So all of that, so debates can be anything. There is no limit to debate and discussion. And you can choose any topic from any of your literature and language aspects also. I can debate on whether the English that we have, somebody mentioned earlier, we don't speak like Shakespeare, or we don't speak like Alexander Pope anymore. All right, so we can have a discussion on the differences. So these are very, very interesting tasks, and they help the students engage in good communication. This is how confidence boosts. There are a few more activities here, but this is something very interesting, which I do a lot in class. Improv games. We just give something to a student, ask the student or the learner to come onto the desk and already give a chit to the person, some words written on that, and that student has to quickly pull in some characters and complete the skit in 5 minutes. All right, they can do it. It's a quick one. We can drag it on to 10 minutes or so, but 5 minutes are good skits. All right, so this is something that we could actually do in the class itself. And the next one we're going to look at is this image. The weasel I went on a blind date with last night. You went on a date with an actual weasel? What do you understand here? What comes to your mind when you see this? The weasel I went on a blind date with last night. You went on a date with an actual weasel. Somebody's, you try to say something and somebody takes it literally. So what are the words for these? What is the word for literal meaning? What is the word for implied meaning? Idioms. Okay, Ashwarya says idiom. Right, Rashmi Priya, very interesting. Treacherous person. Weasel mean. Okay, Suresh. Very interesting answers coming up. Sneaky. All right. I'm asking, what is the word for some? Very good, Khan. Shihan Sahab. Very good. Metaphorical Rajkumar says that. So connotation and denotation. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So these are two actual words that are very, very crucial when we're talking about vocabulary. So from the topic fluency, now we'll be looking at the other three aspects of speaking skills that contribute to your fluent conversation. So we're looking at denotation and connotation. So one is implied meaning. You say something, but you really don't mean it. You actually compare it with something, but it's not the actual meaning or sense. Connotation, of course, is different meanings, and denotation is the direct deducing of that particular word. So when you're learning vocabulary, understanding how to use in a denotative or connotative way or sense is very, very crucial. Okay, that's easy to say, right? And what are the other aspects? Somebody mentioned idioms, right? What are idioms? I actually, I don't speak very good Tamil, so please bear with me. You already know this, but I like this actually. Eriyotila enne oothakudadu. What does it mean? Eriyotila enne oothakudadu. What does it mean? Don't add fuel to the fire. Not bad. So I did make. I managed to make some sense. Don't worsen the situation. Don't add fuel to the fire. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So these are all adding. Yeah. If it fight, don't make it big. It means not to hurt much. Don't add fuel into fire. Thank you so much, participants. So this is what I wanted to say. Blow fuse. You feel very angry. What other idioms can you think of? Just drop it in the chat box. Anything. Ninga Tamil ange podlam. It's totally fine. I'll be able to understand. I'll manage. Piece of cake. Kicking the bucket. All right. Don't hurt much. Bone of content. Content. Beat about the bush. Wonderful, wonderful. Rain, cats and dogs. Cold-blooded person. All glitters, things are not gold. Proverbs. All right. So proverbs and the idioms are a little different, but yes, we all have our own idioms. So why am I talking about idioms? Because we already know so many. Cloud9, apple of my eye is very good. Break a leg. So these are all colloquialisms, idioms, and proverbs are usually interchangeably presented thoughts. But there are slight changes, but we won't be discussing all that, but it's always lovely to talk about idioms or share your own native idioms and add them to English expressions. I don't know if the movie Vasul Raja has these literal translations in the sense of idioms. I haven't watched the movie, but the Telugu and Hindi versions of the movie, they have these literal translations. All right, like in front there is Crocodile Festival, says the Telugu actor in the Telugu movie. Vasul Raja MBBS, I'm sure you know that. It's a Tamil movie by Kamal Hassan. Yes, in Tamil the wordplay is even better, totally. Yes, idioms and phrasal verbs are huge challenges, but as I mentioned earlier, it's important to understand the idioms because that takes us to the cultural aspects of that particular nation, all right, particular community. So idioms are crucial for us. Then colloquialisms, as you see, you're nuts, go bananas. No, these are very, very simple expressions that we see every day, that we use every day. Now, why do we have to learn these expressions and idioms and proverbs and colloquialisms and collocations? The need is, as mentioned by our speaker earlier, a keynote speaker, English is dynamic. The language is dynamic. It keeps changing consistently, constantly. So for that to catch up with the existing system of communication, it's imperative and important that we use or have an understanding of this to a certain extent at least. All right. So then we have jargons and collocations and expressions. I'd like to show a few expressions that are very, very common these days. I'm sure you're all very familiar with this. I'm all ears. I don't get it. Don't be a jerk. I'm starving. It beats me. Like it sort of goes above my head. I don't know what you're talking about. It's on me. So I pay the bill. I feel you. That means I understand you. So this difference of native and normal, when I say normal, it's not really normal, but the difference between the native and the non-native is the point here. And it's always essential for us to be updated on all sorts of expressions, right? So I've mentioned a lot about vocabulary here in terms of expressions and idioms and words themselves. How do we pool these words? It's easy to say that get vocabulary, read one word a day, write in a book, maintain a word or vocabulary journal. It's easy to say, but they are boring at the end of the day, though we have to do them, right? So what we have here is we need to, again, enjoy something and again, learn. More we listen, more we pick up. That can be songs, movies, watch your favorite sports person's interviews, or watch your movie actors, Hollywood or Bollywood or anybody who speaks in English. Listen to them, gather the words in conversation, all right? And read your favorites, whatever you like. I would never suggest read a newspaper. That's a totally different way of or approaching something. But you can always download these news in shorts or something like that and read them, just go through it, quick news, you're updated. And also language is also clear there, simple language. And TED Talks, I'm sure you've heard about TED Talks. Very interesting source of information. You can listen to your favorite speakers from across the world and understand, all right, and learn to talk like them. Imitation is a very crucial aspect of our understanding of anything, and it's okay to imitate, all right? So go to TED Talks. You can just type in YouTube, TED Talk. You get a list of talks from which you can choose your favorites. Games and apps, these are very interesting. We have a lot of mobile apps here. A lot of chats are coming up. Let's see what they are. Background graphics. Okay. Thank you so much. Right. So what we have here are games. When I say games, we play, see, for instance, I play a simple word game with my kid. All right, that has letters on them because she's in school. we use those letters and frame words. So similarly, we have Scrabble and crosswords and Quiddler. All these three games are card games or board games where you actually sit and play with your family members itself. You don't have to do it in the class, but doing it in the class is also possible because Quiddler can be done online, crosswords can be done online, Scrabble also can be played online. I'm sure you've played these games as kids. Do it again, but with the bigger words now. All right. Surprise your friends and your family with new words. They would really love to listen to that. And my favorite here is Kahoot. I'd like to see how many hands going up for Kahoot. How many of you have been using it for the last 1 year during the lockdown period, online sessions? How many of you are familiar with this, Kahoot? Just give a raise hand. Hands are, okay, one hand has gone up. All right, Jerry, CR. Interesting. So Kahoot is something that is quite fun to play in the class, outside the class, anywhere you are. All right, so this is something that I use a lot of times. Thank you so much. You can lower your hands now. Yes, we have a lot of people stating that in the chat box. Yes, they have used it. Wonderful. So Kahoot is a platform where we play games. It's a quiz sort of a thing, but it's fun because it's a challenge that we throw to our competitors. I usually use it in my literature class and also language classes. So we teach engineering students, medical students, or management students, and also literature and language students, PG. All right, and what we do is we use this particular platform a lot of times, whether it's grammar, specifically tenses, or so on and so forth, or if it's literature, specifically certain age or period or writer or author, we can do it all on Kahoot. Very, very interesting. Let me just quickly show you this link for those of you who don't know. This is the basic page on your laptop, but you can simply go to Google Play Store and download Kahoot in your mobile. The faculty, the teachers can download it, go for search, type in anything that you want to play on and share that to the students. They can all play and the results of the final podium can be shared with the students. So it's going to be quite a challenging game for the students and you can also give them some gifts, small gifts. Whoever wins or gets first, second, and third places in tenses will get a pencil or a pen or something, all right, or a card or a token for something else, all right. Be creative. You can do it in the class according to your plan. So what you can do here is you can simply start playing, or you can, if you start playing, it asks you for a code, a pin. See, game pin. Once you create the game, you just have to enter the pin and you can start playing. If you don't know how to do that, we can always go back and explore the content. Let's say we have to do it on English, right? I hope you can see the Kahoot page. All right, so you have to apply filters here. And look for, the grade. I'd be choosing higher education. So higher education is my filter. I'm applying that. And you get a lot of these activities here. Let's see, grammar. Mr. Shakespeare is on the screen. So let's check on the grammar. And we have a huge collection here. What we can do is simply share the pin. And these are the questions that will be displayed for the participants. If the time permits, we can all play a game in the class today itself and in the session today. All right, so you can choose from these. Once you know, you can always explore, so I wouldn't take much time on this. Going back to the presentation. So Duolingo is the same thing. It's an app. Memrise, a quiz app. All these are good online platforms where we can try on and learn new vocabulary or grammar or anything that suits your interest. And there is this one interesting website, which is Linguistic Funland, where both teachers and students can explore the content and use it according to their choice. This is very, very interesting. I don't think we have time to explore this, but I can leave these with you sometime with the organizing team. They can share this presentation with you or the resources. You can all explore these links. Then we have, yeah, this also I'll share with you. Course launch is something very interesting. This is it's an app which tells you on how to learn, whether it's UK or USA or Indian. It has all varieties and it has good games in that. So please do try Course Launch or Zapier.com. These are really nice. Grammar, this is something very interesting. Grammar, when I say interesting, as a student in my school, I always thought that grammar is so boring. When you ask somebody to go through a grammar book, it's like it starts with rules and regulations. And as Muthukrishnan sir said, there are no rules and regulations now. We don't talk about them anymore, right? We understand, learn the structures of language through language itself. We don't sit and mug up the rules of grammar anymore. So this is a very interesting aspect that I'll be discussing in the next slide too. So these are a few game links that you can explore. This one is very interesting. Trust me, eslgamesworld.com is very nice. You can just log in and explore the content there. It's full of games, nothing else. They won't teach you rules and regulations. All right, so that it's fun. And for grammar, as I said, the more you read, the more you listen to, that's how you learn. Here I'm bringing in writing skills because writing is very essential and grammar is crucial when you're writing, more than speaking. And I mentioned WhatsApp earlier. WhatsApp, no grammar at all. No vocab, proper spelling structure followed. No grammatical sentences followed. So I'm talking about academic writing because you're all academicians. We need to be a little more conscious of the grammatical structures of the communication that we're making in terms of speaking and writing. We also have mobile apps. I heard HP Reveal is good, but I haven't really tried it. So I'm not recommending anything here, but you can simply go to Google Play Store and type grammar games, English grammar games. I did surf through a few apps. They are good. You can try them. All right. So online courses are always there. We have good courses on Coursera, Udemy, and a few more platforms you are familiar with. Take a simple course, complete it. That'll help you with your writing, academic writing. And the learning hack for this is, of course, a good grammar book with key is always handy. This is something very, very important, especially in terms of tenses. If you're not very, very good with rules, again, I always hated to read by the rules. All right. So this is something which we can do. We can grab a book or two or as many as we want, read them and get the rules. But this is something that we must do here. Don't go by the rules all the time. We should be able to think of the usage more than what goes first and what goes next, following the exact structure as it is. All right. So for this, I'd like to just walk you through a book. I know it won't take much time, just 2 minutes. I'll quickly surf you through this book so you'll get an understanding of how this kind of books can be considered to look at. This is Practical English for Preeminence. Of course, I'm a co-author for this, and I'm not doing it as a promotion, but this was published long back. So what I want us to do is think of a book that talks about the practical essence of the language usage. So for example, let's see if I'm looking at words used as different something, all right, parts of speech. This book talks about what a part of speech is, what is a noun, what is a verb and all. But most importantly, the usage is highlighted here. This is very crucial. All right. Once you see the sentences with the parts of speech clearly highlighted here, it sort of enters your subconscious memory and it stays there forever. So when you're speaking, it automatically pulls up all the information and you're able to speak much more fluently. So get a book that talks about the practical usage of language. Do not go with the rules in the first place. Since you're advanced learners, a book like this would be really, really useful. There are a few more books on usages, but please go through them and get whichever suits your interests. All right. If as teachers, if you're talking about pronouns, how do we do it? Of course, we can talk about a few examples here, or we can start this way. We don't have to talk about pronouns first at all. All right. We can tell them what words in this particular, see, I'm going to highlight a few lines here. We can ask the students, what words describe the noun here or the person here? Underline them, simple. Then explain pronouns and what they are. I know it's a very, very fundamental word that I've taken, but this is how these books or these kind of books teach us or help us in understanding the language better through usage, not going by the rules or the guides. All right. Because when I was a kid, we were told Renan Martin is the best. Get the book with the key. We did. But trust me, I never saw Renan Martin because we had to sit with the grammar book, read the rules, check with the key. It was tiresome. It wasn't fun. So this is something that I would like to do. So this is what we did in this book. We've included something like that. If you just look at this, there are subject verb agreement, all of the exercises. There are some wonderful passages like this. Because if I'm talking about Sarojini Naidu here, maybe some of us don't know really about her, all of the issues, all of the points, all of her life experiences. So these texts can be used as authentic material for the students to learn about a person, because she's also a poetess, right? So, and that also helps the literature students in understanding a little more about the author. So this is how we move on. The rest are all there, but it's fine. We can move on to the next slide. We come to the last aspect of those skills set, pronunciation. For pronunciation, all we have to do is listen, listen, and listen. And Mark Twain had already said, if we were supposed to talk more than listen, we would have been given 2 mouths and 1 ear. But we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so talk less and listen more. But I would say, listen as much as you can and also speak as much as you can. I wish we had 2 mouths. So listen to that. What would you listen to? Again, not news. All right, no news. Movies, songs, as I said earlier, sing along, karaoke, have fun. Of course, there are courses on this, but my favorites are role plays. As literature students or language students or the faculty who are here, we usually use a lot of role plays, right? We can take a few characters from a novel or a play. They can prepare their skit, a 15-minute or 10-minute skit. They can play their parts. They can improvise on the dialogues also if they want to. Okay, make it more contemporary, make it more sound more contemporary. And that's how you can, in fact, work on the works of the previous writers. It's a very interesting task. My students love it. Role plays are a hit in a classroom, trust me. And as I said, bringing out the contemporariness into these dialogues is very, very crucial. Because if I say, what's up? That actually resonates the contemporaneity of this dialogue. So bringing it in that stance is very, very interesting. It's fun also. And these are some podcasts that I've included here. Fluento.com, this is all about American English, all right? I'm sure you use podcasts. This is usually, we play it in the class or have a task on listening skill also, because Listening skills are also very, very crucial. And the second one is British Council, which is UK English, British English. And the last one is Indian English. As we discussed earlier, we don't have to bother learning US or American English. We don't have to speak like them at all. All right. So we can simply go with the Indian English, which is comfortable. But the only thing is neutralizing the accent. For that, we need to listen to these podcasts. Simple English, British, I'll just show you a sample. Podcasts are also very interesting because they give us a lot of, they give us an insight into different series of talks. So I can simply choose a series here, go to the British Council podcast. You can simply Google it. And you also get the transcripts here. And here I can simply choose episode 1 and start listening. It plays only the audio files. I don't know if you can hear this, but...
Hello, and welcome to this Learn English Elementary recording.
Can you hear the audio?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, now we are not able to hear.
Okay, ma'am, fine. So what we can do here is just explore. Simply type British Council podcast and we have the UK English here. And those who are really keen on understanding this particular accent or part of language, you can explore this. And we also have Indian. Indian is very, very interesting because it's so easy for us. We can simply listen and gather vocabulary from that. Okay, so Indian podcasts, you can type them on. And there are some games here too. So these games are really interesting. For example, improve your accent, it is UK. Let's see if you can answer this. I'm going to play a word. Tell me which word is pronounced. Is it beat or bit?
Ma'am, we are not able to hear the audio.
Okay.
No,
right. So,
okay.
yeah, so what we can do, no problem. So that's not a very important thing. I just wanted the audience to see that there are umpteen choices to pick from, and improveyouraccent.co.uk is a game app, online platform where we can play games and learn the pronunciation of certain British accent. All right. And of course, we have apps in Play Store. Go ahead and download the pronunciation apps. So I think we've come to the end of it. So vocabulary helps us in strongest speaking skills when we use interesting words. We sound grand when we use big words. We don't have to use it in all occasions, but it's good to pick up a word or two now and then, all right, just to use on a special occasion like this. Pronunciation, speech becomes more impactful, and the right idea or impression or information given in a right form creates a totally wonderful impression with the audience. Fluency, it eases your communication and also boosts your confidence. So I think with this, I don't have to really talk about this. I'm going to skip this part because tone, voice, intonation are crucial to whatever we discussed till now. So we just have to focus on the suprasegmental aspects of language there. Tone, intonation, stress, pitch, variation, all of that. Now, these are things to remember. With this, I'm going to close the session. We need to get rid of fillers. A lot of us use verbal mannerisms. And so, okay, but a lot of times. So these fillers sort of hinder the fluency and also do not create that good impact on the audience. So let's be a little more cautious to reduce the fillers that we use. Body language is very, very important. This is all about speaking in like one-to-one or one-to-many. And food is always very useful. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. It's called elevator talk. I'm sure you've heard about that. For small occasions, keep these things in your mind ready. You are in an elevator with somebody and you have to make a conversation. So food is important. You're meeting somebody in a conference or a seminar or a workshop. You have to make a small talk. So create that particular thing according to this. We don't talk about family dreams in an academic context. So change it accordingly, right? And as I said, tailor make your messages according to the audience. That is very, very important. And being brief is good. So background, reason, follow up, ending, all of that is crucial for us. And the last one is 7 C's: concrete, information, concrete, something that you are talking about the content, all right? Correct information, coherence is very crucial, as one of our participants mentioned earlier. Complete, speak completely and courteously, like our UK people, right? Somebody said that when we hear the word English, people, the thing that we can think of is the politeness and the courteous behavior of these people. So the idea is to believe that I can do it, as simple as that. These are the Kahoot challenges I thought we would play, but I don't think we have time, so move on to the these I'll share with the participants if they need. Thank you and good luck. All the best to the students, and thanks for listening patiently. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Swati, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Loved being here on this platform.
Ma'am, we loved your session, ma'am. It's really informative and it is enlightening session, ma'am. Now I call Dr. Nandini to give vote of thanks. Nandini, ma'am.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon to everyone. This is Dr. S.M. Nandini. I was asked to play the role of a moderator, but hats off Dr. Swati ma'am. Your session is highly interactive. I have never seen such an interactive virtual session so far. And really the participants, really they have done a wonderful job. They have immediately replied your queries and almost everyone responded. And there is no need of, when you describe the topic, no, augmenting English behavior for advanced neo learners, you started wonderfully explaining what is augmenting and what is English behavior and what are the different languages, Englishes, USA, UK, and mixed. So everyone responded very well. And they're all very energetic, highly interactive participants. And you slowly turn towards making them advanced neo learners, right? Indian English exists only because of communication. And instead of, when you focused on speaking skills, you taught about fluency, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. And really you gave all the links, very much essential to all the English teachers. And definitely we will use it, ma'am, in our classrooms, and we will make the class also very interactive and interesting, like your session. And now come to the part. Actually, there are no questions. There are only simple questions like, how can we, from Neha, how can we say English as linguistic? She asked one question in the middle of the conversation. And Anil Patil, there is a question from Anil Patil that, which is a footbook on usage?
All right,
two questions.
Addressing Neha's question about linguistics, if you've noticed, the entire session was about how we speak. It's all about language, but I've not used the word linguistics at all. I didn't want to make it huge, sound big. So for us to understand the language, you don't have to really go through the rules of it. As Sir said earlier, we just have to get exposed to a lot of information that is available online. And the more exposed to it, the more we get the grip of it, as simple as that. And for the book, Mr. Anil, there is this book by, I don't remember the author suddenly, but usage of English usage. This is like a very older version of what we have, but there are a few more books in the market. The one I showed was co-authored by me, written by, authored by my colleague at Geetham. That book, I think we can share with you. You can always take a look at that. It comes with a key. So we can suggest some books like that. Yes, ma'am. And I must thank the participants for being so dynamic, enthusiastic, wonderful comments in the chat box. Loved it. You make this session so lively. Thank you so much, participants.
We all love to listen to your interactive session. And the way you explained all the concepts, very, very good, very great. So now come to the vote of thanks. Good afternoon to one and all here. It's like to have been asked to propose vote of on this occasion. On behalf of the PG and English department, the certain vote of thanks to the honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence and took out valuable time of their busy schedule. Also, I would like to extend a special thanks to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Swati Chitala, Assistant Professor of English, Geetham deemed to be University, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, for inspiring us with her vibrant deliberation. I especially liked her Swati Chitala's, where she mentioned, she really pulled the participants by telling about Madurai and then Rasul Raja. Likewise, she mesmerized the participants, right? We love to and even the animated presentation, we love to watch the animated presentation also. So the way you explain the topic is exemplary. I'm very grateful to Dr. B.R. Kumaresh, Secretary and the Correspondent at Sourashtra College, for having given us his wholehearted support in organizing such webinars. I also wish to express my gratitude to our beloved Principal, Professor N.H. Karavanan, for providing encouragement and support. And next, I would like to thank Dr. M.R. Ashila, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of English, and the convener of the webinar for her moral support and guidance. And I would like to record my sincere appreciation for Dr. S. Bhuvaneshwari, Assistant Professor of English and the Organizing Secretary of the two-day international webinar, for her tremendous work during this pandemic situation. The success of any venture is by and large decided by the well-known AR. I need appreciation and recognition of those intimately involved in the program. It is a privilege and great joy for me to extend a lot of thanks to all those who have contributed in one way or the other to make this function effective. I extend my big thanks to our department for their valuable support. And I need to thank all the participants who have turned out in big number for their active participation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini ma'am. Swati garu, thanks again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
This wonderful.
Garu.
Thank you so much. And